DA. We move into another space where we introduce to you Katlego Phala, the youngest member of the legislature for the past 5 years from the party, the DA.
In the minds of young people, politics is the last thing, of which most find it boring. Let's meet Honorable Katlego Phala, the youngest member of the Limpopo Legislature and the youngest in the history of South Africa. Honorable Phala was sworn in 5 years ago at the age of 22. She represents the Democratic Alliance. We spoke to her about her political career and what made her join politics at an early age.
As a young youth in South Africa, what made me to join politics, I cannot pinpoint a specific thing rather than the township that I grew up in, Mangwen Township. One morning I woke up and there was news that a young lady was murdered and she was burned beyond recognition and her body was thrown under the bridge. So that as a young female really pushed me to really ask questions what was going on in the township regarding safety and how one can get involved and make sure that the safety of young women improves. It is general knowledge that our country has a huge and rich history of what we are today. We are molded by politics, how people fought against the struggle of apartheid. So I took it upon me as a young lady to fight against women abuse in my community by getting involved in politics. Having been they said I was the youngest member of the Provincial Legislature to be in Parliament or Legislature ever. It was quite a nice feeling, but one morning I woke up and I found myself being a topic on one radio station that is famous. I'd rather not say. They were saying that I will not make it. She's going to earn all of this. She's going to have all of that. She's so young. She's going to get lost in the title of being an honorable member. There and then, I snapped out of it and quickly pushed myself into reality, that all eyes were on me, not because they wanted me to do well, but that most of people were waiting for me to trip and fall. And if I failed, I was not going to fail for me. I was going to fail for a lot of youth out there who wanted to be in my position. So had I really not done well in the past 4 years, I don't think other political parties were going to give other young generation an opportunity to represent the youth across their provinces and the country at large.
Ms. Phala is not fazed about her age and political responsibilities. We traced her to her humble beginnings at Toronto Primary School in Mangwen, which is about 30 kilometers out of Polokwane. We spoke to Ms. Mahoro, the deputy principal, who was her grade 4 teacher back then.
Yeah, our school is, as I said, it's a public school like any other school. We are catering around the Unit F, that are the people that are the rural, it's a rural place. Even Toronto, she come from Toronto. It's our local, it's a semi-rural place. There's nothing extreme like other schools. So we are having feeding scheme. Sometimes we don't even have some of the things they were cleaning. As I said, they will clean in the classroom like any other child. We don't have a helpers at school where we would say parents will clean for them. She grown cleaning, scraping the floor, cleaning the windows and doing all the scores.
At home, Ms. Phala is just a normal child and carries out normal chores that any child would do.
I wear 2 caps as an honorable member. One is being the member of the legislature. I go to committees. I sit on social development, sports, arts and culture, transport and safety, and 2 standing committees, petitions, and the one that deals with youth and people with disability. In recent months, I have done oversight to special schools across the province. And what I found in school, the infrastructure, the kind of support and resources that the special schools have at this moment, It is really heartbreaking. We need more to be done. I visited a school in Belabela. It's called Tushanang. The infrastructure is quite big. You can see the cracks. You can see outside by the cracks. I've submitted petitions in the legislature for the Muribeng community in Molemola, whereby they were petitioning to have water in their community. I sit on the safety committee as well. We have raised the need for rural safety in our province. I also sit on the Committee of Social Development, where we have raised quite a number of issues, one being a successful one. The long-awaited, completed sexual treatment center was finally opened last year, which was some of the issues that I pushed as a member who sits on that. And my second cap that I wear, obviously, is when I represent my party in my constituency as a DA member. I travel to Tubatse and Lepelle as well. Those are my constituencies, the long travels. You arrive there, you do door-to-door, you do oversights, you visit community members, and I make sure that I work very hard to grow my party so that we can, at least in the next legislature, the sixth one, we have more seats than what we currently have.
We're still coming to you live from Jack Waters Hall in Polokwane City, the capital city of Limpopo, and we are here to present the State of the Province address to you. Remember, is the last one for this term, so the end of the 5th term. Time flies, Professor Tefu. We're already at the end of the term, and we just witnessed a young, and I'm happy that she's female, young female black South African in politics. I don't want to get into party politics, but the fact that she's young and in politics makes me smile. What's your take on this lovely lady that we've just said?
You want to run away from party politics, and I want to zero into party politics. How does the DA get it right? Remember, they have what they call cadre development program, and they also write exams, and they also interview people for positions. In the DA, to get to parliament is almost like applying for a job. To get interviewed, to get do this. So hence you end up with relatively good people, educationally knowledgeable, politically versatile, and indeed with a relatively good moral standing in the communities where they come from. And they also invest in potential through the programs that they have. And I think it's something worth emulating. But if it is about how many stones were thrown and how vulgar and how many expletives you can use, that on the basis thereof you can end up in parliament, then it's unfortunate Africa will not get anywhere. Where there is good, let's celebrate it, let's emulate it, and let's try to replicate it across the political spectrum. There is a young lady, fairly learned, competent, confident, and there is nothing I can take away from her. And I'm just saying, can we find out how she got there and try to sell that program to other parties?
And Professor Mashao, what does this mean to young females who are interested in politics in the province and in the country?
Yeah, she is an exemplary to young fellows. Politics needs literate people, and who are literate in politics. Not to shout, to buy numbers and say, "Come, I'm giving you the forms, vote for me," with nothing upstairs, because you're going to be useless in parliament, useless in legislature. But if youth have gone to school, are politically literate, understand the basic documents of their own parties, that would be super. But you find the politicians who do not even understand the constitution of their own party. It doesn't make a politician. Singing, leading songs, does it make you a politician? A politician should be well equipped. Not just to go and sing it, say I have numbers behind me, but you must have substance in your head.
Just maybe a quick one before we can just expand this whole discussion, Mamo, about young people, in particular because we are waiting to have something to do with the rolling out of broadband, which the Premier has outlined. But just to say, the example of Honorable Katla, quite a tricky one, Prof. Tefu. Honorable Member of Parliament, having to attend portfolio committees, political engagements, but still being able to be in Mankwen Township, do household chores, help with homeworks and other things. Is that how it's supposed to be? Contrary to the understanding that normally, Mama, we have to say politicians are just busy, they don't have time to do these other normal things.
And you also moved to the suburbs.
You see, when we use people as voting cattle for voting fodder, that's when then we will get their vote and say this is a passport now to move away from the depressed spaces to relatively affluent spaces. But who's going to help develop those people? If it is not you. They took you to school so that you can be the light and the brain that can help show them the way to another phase. That's one. Two, politicians are as human as you and I. And there are times when there is peak hour in terms of the work that should be done in Parliament. But a complete human being is the one that would also put his or her family first. To the extent possible, nurture and bring up your children. Because if somebody does that for you on your behalf, you end up sometimes with the discourse and dissonances that we often come across, where there is the values that would have been imbued in the children were not. And we say they don't look like their parents. There is a disconnect precisely because the parents were not there for the children. And indeed, you want to take pleasure in contributing in the homeworks of your children, even in raising your own grandchildren. Where possible, let them be involved, let them assist, let them be seen. And let's learn from others, because South Africans, we are not new in we are not the first to be in politics. And I always say, in everything you do, try to emulate the best and be with them, walk with them. By the time you part ways, you shall have gained something.